Hi there. Hey, my name's Rich Severson with Guitar College, and if you like videos about guitars and about learning and playing them, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep you informed as much as we can. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how to pick out a jazz guitar. Find out what's the best for you. Now, we're going to explore 4 different sizes: a 15-inch, a 16-inch, a 17-inch, and an 18-inch guitar. And we're talking about body depth, or excuse me, the overall bout of it, the lower bout dimensions. Jeez. Anyway, you're going to find that all of these guitars, there's always something different about all of them, how they feel, how they sound, what inspires you, what doesn't inspire you. And it's very important to find a guitar that fits you well and inspires you at the same time. Everything matters on a jazz guitar, right? The pickup, the strings, the wood, everything. The fretboard, the neck, all has to do with the sound and the feel. The frets, geez Louise, it's all the combination of everything. It's kind of like, what makes up a 57 Chevy? Is it the tail fins? Is it the dashboard? Is it the front grille? It's everything, okay? So anyway, same thing with jazz guitars. The first guitar we're going to look at is a 15-inch. Now this is probably one of the smallest ones in a jazz guitar you're going to find. 15-inch is really nice for guys that are used to playing Les Pauls and maybe Telecasters and stuff, and they want a smaller body. Now, if you're playing the guitar like this, with the shoulder over the guitar, which is how I used to play until I had big shoulder problems. But anyway, this is probably one of the most comfortable to play like that. But if you do as I advocate, to play with a strap, get the guitar neck up, the support of the guitar is right here, the forearm, you can move like that. I'm not supporting it with my hand. This hand can move freely. I could play just about any size guitar, and it feels good. Now, this is an Eastman 805 15-inch. Excuse me, 803 15-inch. This is an all solid wood guitar. Maple sides and back, spruce top. This one has been customized with a special pickup, but usually they have a Kent Armstrong or a Seymour Duncan on them. And with the smaller the box, you get more of a punchier sound. You don't get as much sustain, but you get punch. Just ask George Benson. Now, the George Benson, the GB10 is a 15-inch as well. Not quite the body depth as this one. This body depth is, wait for it, 2 3/4, as with a lot of Eastmans. It just looks bigger because it's littler this way. It's also smaller this way too when you reduce the size. Therefore, if you take a look at the distance between the fret or the bridge and the tailpiece, this is pretty short. What the shorter this distance, the tighter the strings feel, and the easier they are to bend. But on these guitars, are you going to be bending strings? I hope not, because it doesn't work. If you're getting a guitar to play blues and stuff like that, get a solid body, okay? For me, it's harder to get a jazz guitar to sound rock or blues than it is to get a blues guitar to sound jazz. You could generally just dial in some kind of tone. A jazz guitar, you get the resonance of the body, and that's what makes up the tone of it. So, if you take a listen. Okay, so there is a 15-inch. It's got its own sound, its own punchiness. The Eastmans have a 1 3/4-inch nut width. Now, that's something else that you need to consider. Do you want that, or do you want the 11/16, or do you want it smaller? Guilds have a little smaller one. 5/8. Okay, so this is 1 3/4. Traditionally, Gibsons are 1 11/16. So if you have fat fingers, the Eastman is kind of nice for playing down in this particular area. Let's look at another single pickup Eastman that's a 16-inch. Here is my John Pisano AR880. By the way, it doesn't come with these numbers, okay? I added those to do some lessons. Comes with a blank fretboard. Now, but you got wonderful markers on the side. Look at those. So you know where you're at. And John, this is a John Pisano. It was designed by John. And he put those on there so you can see exactly where you're at under stage lights. So here we are. This is a solid spruce top. Now, a solid spruce top is probably your more expensive guitars are going to be that. Now, the resonance of this guitar is pretty incredible. Whoops. Do we have to plug it in? We do. Hold on. Here it is. It's one thing about these. You have to plug them in. Though you don't have to. You know, if you have a pretty resonant guitar. Here it is without being plugged in. Pretty resonant. And you can kind of get a feel for it. You know, one thing about these guitars, generally, you can feel that vibration on your chest. Let's just listen to this 16-inch. By the way, I want to make a note of this, that Eastman has a 25-inch scale length. So if you play a Fender, Telecaster, Stratocaster, that's 25.5-inch scale length. So this is a little bit smaller. The frets are closer together, just a tiny little bit. Let's see, what song were we playing? So it's got a beautiful sound, huh? And that is the sound of a spruce top vibrating, creating a beautiful jazz sound. Now you notice it only has one pickup. Now you have to decide this. Do you need 2 pickups or do you want 1? If you're playing casuals and doing a wedding, you might want a back, and you don't want to bring along 2 guitars. You might want that back pickup if you're going to play some rock stuff, whatever. Some reasonable facsimile. Otherwise, half the time, you never even play it. So that's why when I did a demo on just 16-inch guitars, I didn't demo the back pickup because who cares? All right, so here is a Eastman solid top of the line, AR880. Let me show you now a Gibson 175. Okay, here is our 175. And again, you got to plug it in. And this guitar has been around for decades. Now this is a laminate top, and we talk about that in the other video. But just briefly, a laminate top is pieces of wood, different types of wood, put in a press with glue in between, kind of like plywood, but it's not, you know, just a piece of plywood where they carved out. No, it's to a mold to give the arch. And what happens is you have a stronger top. It's not as resonant. It's darker usually, darker sounding. Let's see. Pretty sound, huh? Dark sound. Balanced. It's not as punchy as either one of those. You get a little more punch with the solid top. A little more dynamic range, I should say. All right, so the thing about the 175 now, the body depth, 3.5, I think it is, or 3 3/4. It's a fat guitar. 3.5. So again, that's going to be different. You know, guys coming from a Telecaster and a Stratocaster, now all of a sudden you got this big mass, and it's like, do I want all that? I don't know. You have to decide. Something to consider. Now, this scale length is called Gibson scale, 24 3/4 inch. Okay, and that's like a Les Paul and what have you. So that's your scale length, which I used to exclusively play, and then I got into the 25 inch. Then I got into 25.5. Now this is 16 inch. So we've got, so far we looked at the 15 inch, a 16 inch, that's solid with not as fat this way. Now a plywood top or laminate top. I don't like to call them plywood tops. That's insulting. It takes a lot of work to make this top. So we got that. Now let's take a look at a 17 inch. Okay, next up, let's take a look at this. This is now a 17 inch lower bout going across here. 1 inch makes a big difference. It's crazy. Now it's also a little wider than our 16 inch that we were showing. This is now a full 3 inches. Now this is based off the L5. The L5 is the gold standard, let's say, or the benchmark where everything's measured up to when we come to a 17 inch guitar. Gibson L5. Now that's a little fatter, 3 3/4 inch deep. It's a deeper body. Not as comfortable, I don't think. But now we're into this 17 inch and 25.5 inch scale, ebony fretboard. Now this is Eagle Classic, Heritage Eagle Classic, and this was made for me with these inlays. Normally comes with a blank fretboard. Now I've always said, you know, a 16 inch you play, a 17 inch guitar you ride, and that's kind of how it feels. Now if you're one of these guys that is playing like this, you know, it's going to really kind of get to you. That's why you got to get that guitar up, and when you do that, to me it's very, very comfortable like this. So think about that as you go, when you go look at guitars, take your strap with you. Let's hear it. It's got a big sound, doesn't it? So This is the size that Wes Montgomery played. And so when you start playing Wes Montgomery type songs, it's nice to have the big sound like this. So this particular is a current production model, and you can pick these up. By the way, when you start getting into these big, solid top guitars like this, and this is a pretty fat top, and when you press on here, it's like, wow, is that ply? Well, this is a pretty fat top. So, but it is solid. And the price tag goes up too. So, you know, you got to balance things out between how much you want to spend and, you know, what you can get at the moment. Now, these kind of guitars aren't falling off the shelf. In other words, you can't go to Guitar Center and look them up and play one. You have to go to a custom shop or whatever, custom guitar store. It's got a nice sound, feels good. It's got a nice, this one particular one has a 5-piece neck, as if you could look at this right here. Plus it's got a pick in there that I dropped. So, you know, you got to, when you sit down and play a 17-inch, it's hard to find one of these with a low price tag. You can, they are out there. Some Korean-built guilds or Japanese, China-built guilds, maybe. I don't know. The Eastmans are up there too in a 17-inch because it's all solid woods. It takes a lot of workmanship to build them. So they're not a big production guitar. They don't make thousands of them, you know. So it's not like Les Pauls and Stratocasters where they pump out a few hundred a day. Okay. Give you an example. Gibson at one time, from what I had heard, was pumping out like 500 to 600 guitars a day. This particular guitar company is pumping out 7 to 8 or 9, not 1,000, not 100, just 9. So that's the difference. And that's divided up in models. All right, now that is a 17-inch. Now I am going to show you the real big guy, the Super Eagle 18-inch. 18-inch. Now this is like a Super 400. Now you think 18 inches, good God. You know, did you ever see the Singer's special with Elvis? That's all right, Mama. He's playing a Super 400. That is a big-ass guitar. And there's no question about it. It's a big boy. So how do you handle that? Well, again, you put it across your body. This is almost, the bottom part of this guitar is touching my knee almost. It's right here. And then you got this into here. And when I play it like this, again, it's very comfortable. This particular pickups are a little bit weaker than the other one. That's a pretty sound now, huh? Pretty sound, huh? So that's a lot of wood. This 18 inches here, that's a big piece of spruce. Talk about the spruce goose, huh? A beautiful guitar. Again, this comes with a big price tag, and that's the way it is. So that's something you got to decide. You know, some guys, I like a guitar. Again, when I open the case, I go, wow, that is so cool. I just want to play it, and you're going to spend a lot of time with this instrument. So you got to make sure it's something you really want, that you're really happy with, okay? It's like a car, okay? Don't just buy a car because it gets good gas mileage and it's a beater and try to buy something nice that you're going to enjoy it because you're going to spend some time in it. Same thing with a guitar. I'm sorry, before we go, I wanted to mention this. You see the distance now between this bridge and the tailpiece? That's a span of about 4.5 inches, I believe, 4.25. So this is a very long string. Longer the string, the more flexible it is. Therefore, you could put a heavier string on this and it will feel lighter. Let's move on. I want to show you two other guitars. Okay, before we wrap this up, I want to show you this guitar right here. This is a Gibson ES150, circa 1947, 48, something like that. Now, this is a press top, and it's a thick top. But listen to the sound. So this particular guitar, it's got a deep, rich sound, right? I could brighten it up a hair more. Again, the press top doesn't have as much punch or dynamic range, if you will. That's to my ears. And this is a P90, so it's a different animal altogether. Now, this particular one has been refretted. This is new. It's got new tuners. And when you go to buy a vintage guitar, you're going to be in for some surprises, generally speaking, an old vintage guitar, because they've been around. So if you do that, I suggest that you buy it from somebody who knows what they're doing and can verify the year and everything else. Just to buy an old vintage guitar, generally you might need a fret job, it might need this and that, a wiring bad. Several things can go screwy. Cracks in the top and stuff, so you got to do a pretty dang good inspection before you lay down hard money. But if you get the right one, don't be afraid of it. Now, these early 50s guitars, or the early jazz guitars, have a fat neck, and there's nothing around, you know, that's the way they are. And it contributes to the sound. And by the way, you see, there is no cutaway. Does that bother me? Yeah, not really. I don't care about up here, you know. I'd rather have the real estate here, because it contributes to the sound. Pretty sound, huh? One last guitar to show you. Okay, I wanted to show you this. This is my L5. This particular guitar, all L5s don't look like this, as you probably know. Now, the L5 is kind of like the benchmark of everything. How does it compare to an L5? Because Wes played an L5. He was about one of the few players that actually played one. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people did. But so this particular one is very ornate, as you can see. It was made for the NAMM show, I believe. And this is like a parade saddle. It's beautiful, isn't it? And, you know, you don't take a parade saddle on your horse and go round up cattle. Otherwise, you'd be cleaning it all day. No, you take it out for special occasions, and that's what this is. I like to take it out for certain things. So, but let's listen to it. Now, the L5, this is much fatter. Okay, so you're kind of, and if you were to play like this, it's like, oh man, it's a shoulder buster. So anyway, there is the L5. If you ever get a chance to play one, play it and see if you like it. Now there's copies of L5s that you can get a lot cheaper in Johnny Smith's. Difference between a Johnny Smith is a little thinner body, 3 inches, kind of like our this Eagle. It also has a different pitch on the neck, so the neck is pitched a little bit. Instead of going straight out like this, it's kind of going off this way, so it's a little closer to your body. 25-inch scale instead of 25.5. So Johnny Smith might be an option too, but again, very expensive. So anyway, when you find your guitar, okay, so find the right one for you. First start with the size, the scale length, whether you like mounted pickups, whether you want a floating pickup. We didn't demonstrate any 17 inches with floating, but they're out there, and you got to remember, what are you going to use this guitar for? Are you going to be out gigging at loud volumes? If so, you got to watch yourself, okay? You can't have a live guitar to do that. All right, but they're sure fun to have, and they work great in little clubs and jazz clubs and stuff like that. So I think that's about it. Find the one that's right for you. Press top, solid top, and make sure no matter what you get, you take care of it, you humidify it, you take it out of the case and play it, and wipe it off and clean it off. Be careful when you do the pickups. Don't put a lot of car polish or anything on there, those pickups. The gold comes off if they're gold, so be careful. I will talk at you later. Bye for now. Hi, Rich here again. I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and if you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can see all the guitar videos I put out each week. If you want more lessons right now, I have hundreds of them at guitarcollegelibrary.com. And if you want to learn jazz, hey, check out my course, Jazz Guitar Improv. You'll see the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.